Welcome to Empowered Within, a soul-quenching, transformational podcast that will set your soul on fire through candid and inspiring conversations. Leading experts, celebrities, healers, and I share our journeys of how we've overcome challenges to living an empowered life from within. I'm your host, Jennifer Pilates. Welcome to another episode of Empowered Within. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I am honored to have with us today Dr. Travis Fox, an actor, producer, director, author, and keynote speaker. He's a 5-time EMMY Award nominated and winner, over 25 Telly Awards for production, with the most recently co-producing and co-starring in Beyond the Secret, the long-awaited sequel to The Secret, as well as How Thoughts Become Things. Dr. Travis has over 30 years of experience as a speaker teacher with over 14,000 hours on stage around the globe. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. As always, as I said before, every time I hear that intro, I'm like, are they talking about me? Is that me?
That's
really?
you.
Oh, yes, that's my curtain call. Thanks for letting me be on the show.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I want to know, how did it all begin for you? Did you wake up one day and go, I think I'm going to work on manifesting?
No. I'm the proverbial hero's reluctant journey guy. Believe it or not, my life has been fairly eclectic. I have a mother who was a model and an actress, and the father was a fighter pilot. And I always remind people, if you ever saw the original movie Top Gun way back in the day in the 80s, it wasn't like that. It was more like that. So I grew up bihemispheric. I have the ultra creative from my mother from the arts side, but I have the logic from my father, who was, master's in engineering, fighter pilot, et cetera, and kind of put the two together, and that becomes the whole me. However, I grew up the first part of my life in Japan and Germany because of both of their careers. And when I was 5, my father put a golf club in my hand while we were in a brief stint in Florida, and took off. And golf and I were just naturally good friends. And it was also a way for my father and I to relate. And so most of my high school career was focused on, yes, I got into modeling and acting when I was 9 years old because of my mom's influence. And I said, why not? Meanwhile, it was all to support what I thought was going to be my golf career. And this show is a perfect commentary for this. And there's that age-old thing that says, this is my plan. I've got my life planned out. This is all blueprinted. It's done. And the universe says, yeah, tell you what, we've got a different, interesting adventure over here, and it's going to be a right turn, Clyde. And I right turned. And so I became a father, first-time father at the time, when I was 17, rolling 18. And I went into first year university, and I always tell people what makes me a great head coach is I was a head case first. I had a complete emotional breakdown, really had no clue what heartbreak had really felt like. I was trained from the golf world, and one of the persons that's influenced my career, who I got to be in the film with, Beyond the Secret, which is Dr. Dennis Waitley in The Psychology of Winning, was really kind of the impetus of what my psych work was about. But it was all focused on golf. It wasn't focused on my emotional development or who I am versus who I thought I was. And then I met my mentor, and I realized I'm playing golf for my dad, playing for golf for all the wrong reasons. I like it, still good at it, had a great career with it, but didn't love it. But that's when my path changed and realized, hey, T, guess what? You're really going to be over here as a teacher, trainer, producer. That's what you do best. So let's move in this direction. And I didn't realize, Jennifer, and you'll get this, the other influence on my life besides Dr. Dennis Waitley was P.T. Barnum of Barnum and Bailey Circus. I was fascinated by how this guy didn't have the internet, heck, didn't have cell phones, didn't have anything we have nowadays, built a 110-year legacy. And it just captivated me. I thought, well, that's a really interesting way to approach it. And from there, when I realized what my real purpose and passion was in life, all of that P.T. Barnum influence has been really influenced my career for the last 31 years. And that's how I arrived on your show.
Wow, that is an incredible transformational story.
Right.
Wow. Okay, so are you still playing golf? We must ask.
I do. Not only do I play golf, but I still coach over in Lower Utah, some of the golf teams. I work with some of the junior players and work with the junior teams. Obviously, I don't charge them. I'm not interested in their money. I'm interested in, can we take these philosophies? Because my doctoral dissertation was actually written about golf, and it was written on the pain of spending 20 years of my life focused on this experience and the psychological and emotional structure of it, only to have it unravel. Now, people have this experience every day. It doesn't have to be in sports, but the lessons I learned from golf still apply to this day. And so I take to the kids, and I say, not only can we're going to work on your game, but we're going to teach you how to manage your golf game, which is really masked way of managing themselves. And they become these life lessons. And it really has become this for me, it's a passion work that I love to do to this day. And matter of fact, in late 2021, I'll be over at the Santa Barbara Celebrity Classic, which benefits junior golf, because the whole concept to me is, if I had learned some of the things that I learned, credit given to Dr. Dennis Whaley, credit given to P.T. Barnum and all the other great mentors I had during my teenage year. But if I had really learned who I was and how to address me and to address the trauma and to address the false beliefs and the self-hypnosis I was doing earlier, well, you know what? It could have been a different experience. Not that my experience has been bad, don't get me wrong, but it really became the impetus and driving force for what I've been doing for the last 30 years, is to help people go, wait a minute, the ultimate journey starts here, not here. And we've been taught in a very unique way, and you would know this as well. We've all been taught this thing that we really don't pay attention to called mind, body, spirit. But if you listen to the sequence of that, Jennifer, here's the problem. We rarely get past mind. Mm-hmm. It's our own trap doors. We set it up. So to ask mind to solve itself truly becomes a definition of insanity. And it became the backbone for all the work that I've done over the years, which is called the EC formula, the emotional compulsion formula, where it emotionally compels you. And then your body viscerally feels it. So now you're vibrating naturally from the emotion that you've created, because that's the start point. And your subconscious will automatically start to reorganize itself through neuroplasticity. And then bang, how you see the world, how you manifest into the world, how you experience the world changes automatically. And now we're not in this constant, paralysis by analysis in our wizard brain, trying to figure out the whole thing. And meanwhile, you wake up and you're 70 years old and go, I missed the whole ride. So that's really been the impetus for the work. And again, if I hadn't gone through the golf experience, those years, I would have never stumbled into it. But as people say, well, Travis, you've been in the self-transformation entrepreneurial world for 30 years. Yeah, but that wasn't my plan, but it was my plan. Mm-hmm. I just was self-hypnotized. So it's really become an impetus for me to get the educational system to shift, especially in America, to shift out of this, test taking for tax dollars as a way of measuring education. To me, I don't understand what, our kids are coming out. I'm a 3-time father and now grandfather.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Hopefully that makes me a gilf. We'll see. But I always say, it's funny, you come out highly educated, but life stupid. Mm-hmm. Well, then what's the point of going through all of this, 12 years of education plus former university and whatever your postgraduate work is going to be? What's the point? Now, there are certain careers that require that, but let's be candid. Most of it, we learn way back in elementary school, and then we spend most of our 20s and 30s in that hypnosis of those programs. And then we wake up around 40, 45 and start going, what's the meaning of my life, Jennifer? What am I really doing here? People call that a midlife crisis. I call that a midlife opportunity. You call it whatever you want. Right. But I'm like, that pattern really needs to abate if humanity, especially now in today's times, is going to finally evolve, whether it's vibratory, emotionally, intellectually, or most importantly, collectively, when we finally realize, hey guys, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there are things out there that are far more powerful than this little thing up here. And we can almost start with, how the world's changed over the last, call it 2 years for round, how something that it's infinitesimally small has affected every single human on this planet in nanoseconds compared to our time sequence. But that to me was the ultimate wake-up call of going, man, family, if we don't wake up soon, Mother Nature has a nice way of saying, you saw what I did to the dinosaurs. You better wise up, kids. Right. So to me, I look at it as a midlife opportunity.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Opportunity awakening. I think that's great. So for our listeners who might be like you and I, and we'll say in our 40s, and they're like, wow, that sounds like me. How does someone start? If they're ready to have this opportunity, this awakening, where do they start from?
Hi, I'm Kate from the Truth About Aging podcast, a podcast where we discuss how to navigate aging where no topic is off limits. We explore how to support a loved one to die at home, how to access a home care package, how to support someone living with dementia, how to find meaning and purpose as you age, and my favourite episodes of all, checking in with my very own grandma. This podcast isn't just for the elderly. If you have a parent, grandparent, friend, or beautiful elderly neighbour down the street who you wish to support, we have the tools to help you do so. Download our latest app on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or check out our website, thetruthaboutaging.com.au.
For me, what we do is we invite them to take an adventure. And when people hear that, they go, well, I don't have time for that. I'm like, but your whole life's an adventure. What do you mean you don't have time for that? That's a wizard answer. That's a mind talking to me, to which I know, okay, we get around that. The best way I advise people to start is, let me ask yourself this question. So all of your listeners, everybody listening to Jennifer's show right now, it's really straightforward. If you only have 30 days left to live, would you be doing any part of the life that you currently have right now at all? And if any part of your answer is no, then you honestly need to take a look at yourself and ask the toughest questions. How come I'm continuing to do this, and whom am I doing it for, i.e. me playing golf for my father as an example? And more importantly, if you only have 30 days left to live, what is the first emotion that comes up for you that you can grab onto and go, that feels like something I'm willing to explore. I may not understand how, and if you did, would you do it anyways? That's the adventure. But what's the feeling I want to feel? Because again, if you've ever been someone who's taken the journey, I mean, the great journey, when they go beyond, you don't hear them talking about all the things that we value in today's society as success. It's always the top three. It's family, travel, and I wish I'd explored all the things that I really wanted to explore, but I wasted too much time. Well, we know this cognitively, and yet we sit around and we say, no, we're awoke, we're awakened. No, you're not. Calm down. There's no such thing as awoken until we leave. It's an opportunity to continue to awaken. If you approach it from the adventure point of view, then that little kid in you that you stuffed down long time ago under the guise of being an adult has been waiting for you all along. It doesn't have to be this big traumatic experience. You don't have to go through, sitting in kumbaya if you want to. Those are polar extremes. Or how about we just ask ourselves a question? If I had 30 days left to live, would I be doing anything? If the answer is no, change right now. It's going to scare the bejesus out of you. I get it. But here's the thing that will help you right off the box. And that's something we teach over in the Quest is fear is just excitement without breathing. That's it. Identically, the emotions feel the same, but fear is this wizard mind. Excitement is you, the architect, your being, you, your soul, your chi, whatever words you want to put on it. I'm not here to tell you what to call it, but that part of you that really is the one taking the adventure in this thing we call a spacesuit called Travis or Jennifer in this particular case and the rest of the audience. And when you look at it from an adventure point of view, isn't that what we all really want? Because when we're sitting around the water cooler, we're gonna go, hey, Jennifer, I got this stock and I did this and I bought 40 houses and I'm dating all these guys or all these girls and I've done all this stuff and I bought these cars. Yeah, that's the top level stuff that our egoic wizard mind wants to impress people with as a version of success. But if you really listen to the stories, they're the adventures. They're, hey, I caught this fish out in the middle of nowhere and we were all together. And it has nothing to do with material success. It has to do with the physical, emotional / experience. Those are the stories we tell. But we don't give ourselves enough stories because we're too busy making a living. I don't get making a living. I've never understood it. I've had money, I've lost money, I've had money, lost money. And yes, having money is better than not. I get it. But isn't that the adventure too? Because money's there. And now more than ever, as much as every government on this planet has been printing money like it's falling out of the sky, it's there. Relax. The question is, are you? Are you there? Or are you still up here? And it's okay if you are. We all do it. The question is, do you have the blueprint to unwind this and do it in a way that actually doesn't keep sticking you in the past of what you've already experienced? And that's where the trap lives right there. So the first question is, are you ready to go back to an adventure? If you had 30 days left to live, would you be doing anything you're doing in your life right now? Any part of the answer is no. Let's change it. And let's connect with the first emotion that comes up, because that's most likely where the disconnect has been, is the emotional structure within you that says, psst, hey, Jennifer, you want to go on an adventure? Let's go to Africa. Let's climb Kilimanjaro. Let's go surfing. Let's just bungee jump. Because the end result for every single one of us on this planet is the same. We broken dead. The question is, do we really live? And that quotes the great Alan Watts quote, life doesn't define death. Death defines our life, because we're all going to face that. And I know that's a somber experience and we're talking about empowerment, but that is the empowerment. But we're so scared to look at it and we do everything we can to stuff it down. But when we're stuffing those things down, well, no different than a big fishing net, it stuffs all the other emotions down. And next thing you know, we're a walking zombie, yet we're walking around thinking that we're educated, we're intelligent, we're awake, which is a clear sign, self-included, that we're egoically structuring this illusion called self-hypnosis. Mm-hmm. And we hypnotize ourselves to believe things we know we don't really believe in, and we know we really don't want, and we know we really don't want to do, but we do it anyways. And you guys think I'm nuts. I'm like, at least I know I'm nuts. I don't know if that's any better, but at least I know it. But the one element that I think makes manifesting work, and I talk about this immensely, all the teachers do, and we're adamant about it, is people talk about the law of abundance. Family, if I could be so bold, and I have a little bit of credibility to talk about this, it's not abundance as you're defining it here. Abundance in your brain is going to be wealth, success, the ability to travel when you want, freedom. And those are great, don't get me wrong. But the real law of abundance is fun, because no one needs to teach you how to have fun. You can never run out of it. It's on demand 24 hours a day, and it costs you zero but one thing, a choice. So when you start looking at it from a fun perspective, everything's fun. How can I make it fun even if it sucks? Then there are things that suck, but you can make them fun, because if you can hypnotize yourself to do things every single day that you don't want to do, don't like to do, never wish you had to do, you can clearly do that when you put base plate of emotion of I'm going to have fun with this thing. And when you have fun, it's infectious. People go, I want to do that. Great. Now you don't have to sell, you don't have to pitch, you don't have to tell your value, you don't have to, give a one-time offer. Those are all great sales tactics. They're really fun, but let's cut the crap. If you're having fun, people will join you if that's what they want to experience. If they want to have fun, then you don't want to be around them anyways because they don't want to have fun. It's really that simple. So shift your law of abundance from I'm manifesting wealth into the world, That's a mind thing. Remember, the universe could give a snot about money. That's a man-made creation. But it asks if you're vibratorily vibing with the adventure called life, which the easiest word we use in the English language is fun. And when you shift your law of abundance that I can have fun at any given moment about any given thing, about any given person I meet, you become not just empowered, you become powerful.
Wow. OMG. I mean,
right?
Hello. Yeah, mic drop right there. Okay, well, podcast's over.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, great show. Good talking.
Great show. See you later. Oh, so that was super powerful, because I will say the first thing that came up for me was adventure. Like, I've been feeling like I want an RV. I want to get on the road and keep doing my podcast all over, which is, it's in the works now. But when you said that, I was like, yeah, let's go to Africa. Like, let's go. I'm ready.
We're going to Africa next year in 2022 again. We did it in 2019. You heard me hear my story. I'm not a mountain climber. I don't like cold weather. I suck in cold weather. I turn into a big crybaby victim. This sucks because I've done my time, back east, and I froze my butt up. I lived in Europe, froze my butt up. I'm up 90 degrees. I'm happy. Below zero, not a happy camper. So what we did was we said, wait a minute. What if we went to Kilimanjaro? And my buddy and I, we summited Kilimanjaro. I was 48 years old. I've never climbed a mountain in my life, bar, a couple thousand feet here and there, go to Denver, 5,000 feet, big deal. This is the seventh tallest mountain in the world, 19,341 feet above sea level, and 4 ecosystems, and 6 days of one of the best adventures of my life, and something that I still talk about to this day of all of the experiences that happened on the mountain. And here's the irony, Jennifer. It wasn't like we were sitting there having this great dialogue like you and I are having now on the show. You're not talking. You're focused on, wait a minute, we're back to it, breathing, because you can't freaking breathe. So believe me, all of your attention brings you present, because if you don't breathe, this little thing called fight or flight kicks in. You think about you could die on the mountain because it happens every single day. You think about, what am I doing up here? Everything that you have held on to emotionally, physically, at the cellular level, the vibratory level, comes up. And the beauty is Mount Kilimanjaro is an amazing queen of Africa. She ain't going to move. She's just going to sit there in dead silence, very much like the universe goes, are you ready? And we'll wait, because you're just another grain of sand of a grain of sand of a grain of sand of a billion others that she's endured over time. And it's this beautiful, effortless power that she represents of, you can keep beating your head against a wall if you want, Fox, but it's still going to be a freaking wall, even though you keep thinking it's going to be a door. It's not. Why don't we step back and just own it? And she allows you to drain it out in the beautiful majesty that she is. And it changed my life again. So when I say adventure, and you talk about RV, I spent the better part of my career on tour. I grew up in buses. The buses are normal to me. So I would say to you, when you say it's in the works, my first response is, Jennifer, it's only going to work when you stop waiting for it to work. Get in the RV and go. Get it. That's the adventure. And that's the part where we go, yeah, but it's scary, or I got to get all these things in order. You're always going to have something to get in order. Knock it off. Is it fun? Yes or no? Does it make you want to go, ooh, I need to check my breathing because I'm excited? but I'm masking it as fear because I'm trying to control the adventure. The word adventure in and of itself says going into the unknown. It is the proverbial hero's journey we're all on, and we're playing this out all the time. The question is, are you playing an adventure you want to play, or are you forcing yourself into the dark night of the soul where you continue to manifest and go over and over and battle yourself? And believe me, I'm a master at battling myself. It took me years, and I'm still on that journey. Don't be fooled. I tell people, look, if you think I'm awoke, you're dreaming. I have yet to meet an awoke person. I meet people who are on that path. But we all get awoken when we leave this planet, and that's part of our journey, but that's part of the adventure too. So when we shift our law of abundance to wealth, money, success, which you can see a lot of people still struggle with that, hence why we did the sequel to go, well, there's a couple things we need to tell you about that we didn't tell you about that you probably should know. But it's shifting to fun. When you shift the fun, no different than the show. I'm having a blast. I love talking. I love your show. I love what we're talking about. I love your audience because they're willing to look at how do we empower. It's this simple, family. Shift your law of abundance to this external thing and make everything fun. And when things don't look/feel fun, ask yourself this question. If I'm a creator and I can create all of this, I can create fun out of any situation. All I have to be willing to do is tap into the emotion. My body will naturally vibrate. You have billions of soldiers in your body that you call cells that will vibrate at the instant of a command. They're waiting. They're waiting. You will vibrate, send that out there. And next thing you know, your goggles that you call eyeballs will shift and you'll see the world completely different in a situation that 10 minutes ago sucked. That's it. That's the secret. Anything else is a really long-winded way to get there. I know I've taken many of those paths myself and beaten my head against the wall going, there's got to be the answer to the universe, Jennifer. I'm on the quest to figure it out. Well, here's the answer. Have fun. Because life goes by fast and it's an adventure. And if you have friends, family, anybody you meet as strangers and say, are you willing to go have fun? 99% of the time, they'll say, yeah. The question is, are you willing to ask and are you willing to go yourself? And that's where we get stuck. And that's what the quest of my life is about, is to go, hey, here's a blueprint in a very fun way, an adventure format with myself and my partners, all fellow teachers, all respective in our realms, going, what if we took this as an adventure form? What if we made entrepreneurialism fun? What if we made the self-awareness fun? What if we made parenting fun? What if we made our own body fun? What if we did that? Because nobody's really ever done it. And here we are.
Right. That's amazing. I love this concept. I love it. Bringing it back to the sequel that you did to The Secret, which I mean, I think I wrote the entire movie out in a notebook.
Thank you.
And then I was like, okay, I got to go back and watch it again. I just love it, right? The knowledge, the information. And it's, again, just like you're saying, so simple. And I always felt years ago, we won't age ourselves. When The Secret first came out, I always felt, I was doing everything. I mean, I've been like you on this journey of believing and knowing there's always something more. But I knew something was missing from The Secret. I knew somebody held out on me. Well, you share with us what the secret to The Secret is.
Yeah, a couple of things. For one of the things that, inside the quest that we have everybody go through is called archetypal symbology, which is a really fancy way of saying, we're going to teach you archetypes in a whole new way that's never been done before and make it fun. We start you off with the first 4 prime archetypes: the warrior, the wizard, the bard, and the jester. And when you see how these play out and how you're playing out, 2 things occur immediately, and it changes instantaneously how you see the world. 1, you see how you're showing up. Like right now, you're a brilliant wizard. You're running the show. You're thinking about questions asked. I'm throwing all this information at you. You're mitigating the audience, editing. All these things are going through that wizard mind of yours. And the wizard is the genius part of us. It's the one that comes up with these ideas and blueprints and the genius to go to the moon and the things that we've done as a species. But with everything, there's always a balance in the universe. And the flaw of our wizard is that we analyze things to death. We literally stare at ceiling fans for hours and days and nights going, what's the answer? And we can't figure it out, which goes back to our sequencing, mind, body, spirit. Mind can't solve itself. So we have to shift out of our wizard after we've taken in the data. The problem is most of us don't. Guilty as charged. I can be a super wizard too, right? And we don't shift out. The secret to The Secret is what I said in the previous one. Everyone says, hey, if I just think it, write it down, a Ferrari is going to fall out of the sky. Well, let me ask, how many Ferraris do you have? None. Okay, so that model doesn't work, but we cling on to it because what we cling on to really is hope. Here's the problem with hope. No different than the balanced universe. It has an underlying implication of doubt. I hope it works out. I hope for the best, but I plan for the worst, which lets you know that's a wizard mind concept. So when you step back and you go, when you shift to knowing, the K-N-O-W, right? When you think about knowing, and when you think about knowing, our wizard mind goes, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get this RV that you're talking about. And how do I plan my trip? And what's my route? And how am I going to hook my satellite feed? Blah, 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 blah. Shut up. That has nothing to do with it. It has to do with, is it fun? Because no different than if you go back to one of the great books of all time that I think is probably one of the most underplayed is the Celestine Prophecy. And it told a metaphoric realm of, hey, these are these kind of laws of the universe of how do we do things going from one thing to another. And the real simple is breathing. Breathing. Fear is excitement without breathing. So when we get scared, there's two things that occur. One, we stop breathing. So for example, I get scared, you scare me, what's the first thing we do? We grab our breath, we stop. We go into instantaneous fight or flight. It's a chemical reaction. We're hardwired that way. Here's what you don't know. When you're in that moment of fear, or you're staring at the ceiling fan and you're activating the fear, what you're really doing is stopping breathing. And remember, breath is life. Not my rules, the universe's rules. So you can go have that conversation if you want. It's a simple rule. If we stop breathing, our subconscious doesn't stop, which means the moment you stop breathing, everything that's happening in that experience or in that thought process or in that conversation, bang, goes right into your subconscious like a chalkboard and writes down all these beautiful belief structures. And then you start compounding them because you go into autopilot, because most of our life is automated from the subconscious. So we get an autopilot, yet our conscious intention, if I may quote the great, Dr. Wayne Dyer, power of intention. Well, your intention's noble, but we also have that age-old cliche, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And that's because what's happening underneath is the truth. And we're so scared to look at it because we've been told if we go down here, I'm gonna have to relive my pain. I'm gonna have to go to deep therapy. I'm gonna have to go, sing Kumbaya naked dancing in the rain on a beach, although those are fun, but it doesn't have to be that way. Transformation is what makes you the creator. It is exactly your divinity manifested. To transform yourself to anything. You can transform yourself from a snail to a CEO. You can transform yourself from I'm not famous to I'm famous. We do it every single day here now on social media through the power of the internet. The question is, do you really want it? And is it based on the adventure of fun? That's the secret. Otherwise, you will spend your lifetime lamenting, looking from things to thing, and you will find yourself what I call the biggest drug addiction of all time. You can take all the concept of big pharma, you can take it out of non-regulated drug use, you can take it out to shamanic journey. Those are all great experiences and they have their things as well. But the number one addiction of humanity is the search. We're addicted to the search because we have hope that we're going to find our passion. We're going to find our partner. We're going to find our purpose. We're going to find our vision and our legacy. We're going to find it. All right, is there a drugstore out there that says, oh, by the way, Travis, we've got your passion, purpose? No. Where we go out in the spine, we're constantly looking through this filter of the conscious mind. And the problem is it's based on an intention, not what's actually going on. Because the emotion down here through the EC formula is what drives you. It's compelling. You'll do things that when you're doing, you're going, what am I, nuts? What are you doing? And we do it anyways, because remember, subconscious is an automated process. It doesn't get into right or wrong sequences. It doesn't know your intentions. It doesn't really know the difference between reality and fantasy. To it, they're one and the same. So why not be in your fantasy land and then watch your fantasy become a reality and have fun doing it? And now you go on the adventure of a lifetime. That's the secret. It's that simple.
Hey, listen, I know you think it may be impossible to have this, but you deserve your freedom. The ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, every single day. If that got your attention, then I just may be the voice for your next podcast binging experience. Hi, my name is Brian Lubin, and I am the host of the Action Academy podcast. I was able to hit financial independence and retire from corporate America for good at the age of 27. I did this only because of the help of my millionaire mentors, and that's what my show is. 5 days a week, I interview multimillionaire entrepreneurs and ask them the mindsets, methods, and actionable steps they took to earn their freedom. Let's earn yours back too. Talk soon.
So for a listener out there, I agree. It is that simple. Who says, okay, Dr. Travis, if it's that simple, I'm about to get on a plane. I'm having a panic attack. I don't know if I can get on there. How am I going to make this fun to get on the plane and get from point A to point B, Dr. Travis?
What a great question. First question to use. What is it you're so afraid to let go of control of? And what do you really control anyways? I mean, cut the crap. That's the wizard answer. As soon as I hear the wizard brain, I go, hey, wizard, how about we shift into jester mode? And people think jester means clown or jokester. Nothing could be further from the truth. Jesters are the ones that know how to be. Just be and enjoy the ride. Because all of your worry, all of your stress, all the alcohol you consume on the plane, all the movies you can watch, everything you can do to distract yourself will not distract you if you're stuck up here in the wizard. It won't. So you get to ask yourself this question. If I'm panicking, there's a high degree of probability you're not breathing. You're not. You're hyperventilating. You're gasping. You're panicking. All puns intended, hence the term panic attack. So when you start about breathing, you go, if I'm so focused on my breathing, which you can consciously intend and control, don't you satisfy the need that you're seeking to satisfy, which is control. I can control my breathing. I can control it. But our wizard says, well, that's not enough. Because Jennifer, you need to be able to control the plane. You need to be able to control the turbulence. You need to be able to control the person next to you who's, doing whatever or not doing whatever. You need to control okay, great. My response to you is, when you land on the plane, what's the first thing that you do?
Personally, I'm playing Reiki music in my ears and breathing.
I rest my case, counsel. The first thing that everybody does, and remember the great Pope John Paul used to get out of the plane and he would kiss the ground. You take that, well, I'm glad that's over. And then the next thing that people do, not always, but as a generality, they anesthetize. I need a drink. I need a cigarette. I need to go relax. I need to unwind. Well, if you can do it after the plane, what's the difference between on the plane? A choice. It's a choice to really go in. And people go, come on, Travis, it can't be that simple. And I'm like, okay, you can make it complicated. I know I'm the master of complicating crap. I'm a super wizard by training, by birth. Even though I was nurtured as a warrior bard, my natural is a wizard. Okay, I'm an architect. That's what I do. I'm a human architect. So the question becomes, if I can do it, and I'm no better than anybody, I'm just as messed up as everybody else. I just know I am. That's the difference. And I at least have a blueprint to go, oh, okay, I see where I'm tripping myself out. Would you be willing to experience it? What if you stayed focused for a 4-hour flight, let's say from Atlanta to LAX, a flight I do often myself. Okay. And during certain times of the year, going through the middle part of the country, it's turbulent. Right? I can't control Texas and Oklahoma, although you have to go fly over them if you want to get across there. What if you stayed so focused and so intended? Now we're back to your intention again, family. So intended that during those 4 hours, you were focused on maybe square breathing. You were focused on fire breathing. You were focused on alchemy breathing. You were so focused for those 4 hours, you won't even have time to be aware of what's going on. Because the more you're breathing in that experience, and anybody who's done, like, say, somatropic or holotropic breathing, which we do in the Quest as well through Sifu John Goff, you go, what am I really worried about? Well, I'm creating drama. And that's okay. The bard in us likes to be drama kings and queens. We're all drama kings and queens. And that's fun too. But if it's not fun, then ask yourself, what is it you're seeking to evoke? Meaning my control, my need to feel this way because I feel comfortable in panic, or I feel comfortable in worry. I feel comfortable in that control. Because again, at the end of the day, you're choosing to get on the plane. Nobody's twisting your arm to get on that plane. You could drive if you wanted to. You could take a train. You could walk. There's 100 other options. So you're choosing it. So why not embrace it and make it fun?
I love it.
Thanks.
We're all going to embrace our next flights.
I'll
have you on speed dial, doctor.
Please.
We have a problem. Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And it happens often, my private clients call and say, oh, I'm having a panic attack. I'm like, cool. What's fun about that?
Oh my God.
And there's dead silence, just like there was a moment ago. What do you mean? Panic attacks aren't fun. Says who, creator? I mean, look, you don't get the opportunity to be a hypocrite, and we all are. So let's just own this crap and have some fun with it. We're all hypocritical BSers. We BS ourselves every single day. I'm guilty as charged too. The question is, are you having fun when you catch yourself, or do you condemn yourself through the wizard brain? Most of us condemn ourselves and go, well, Jennifer, you need to be better at this. You need to stay more centered, and you need to be more manifesting. You got to be positive all the time. Yeah, but that's a conscious intention. Are you feeling it here? Because if you're not, well, you're just really doing some good hypnosis. And the way that you know that, this little thing called your voice box, which is trapped between your wizard mind and your warrior heart. And when the voice comes out, all you have to do is look at what's vibrating back at you. Be present, and you go, I just realized I'm creating more panic. Why? Because it feels safe. Why? Because I feel like I can control something. My response to you is, where's the adventure in that?
Right. There isn't any.
There isn't. And one of the greatest lessons I learned, it took me 48 years to learn it. So family, please learn a lot faster than I did, was at Kilimanjaro. And right when you go to summit, you're at base camp at 15,000, you start climbing at midnight. Now you just got there. You only have about 3 hours sleep and it's freaking cold. At least, for me, it was 0. So that's cold for me. And it got colder at the top. But that next climb is almost a 3,000 vertical. So you start at midnight. It's a 7-hour climb. And I asked the one guy that came with us in our party, I said, I'm just really curious. Why didn't you tell me what we were up against? Why didn't you say, hey guys, this is going to be a vertical climb. It's going to test everything you've got. And the answer was the most brilliant, simple answer I'd ever heard. He'd summited over 200 times. So, okay, you're the master of that. I'm not. He said, Travis, if I told you and showed you what you had to climb, you wouldn't do it. He's right, because it's not an adventure. All you see is vertical climb. It's getting colder. I don't want to go up to the top because it turns, ice and you get crosswinds and et cetera, which is what summits do. So your brain goes, are you nuts? What are you doing, Fox? You're an ocean kid. You have no business being up here. But in the masking of the darkness, puns intended, right? The masking of our darkness, the truth is revealed. And I don't mean the hidden secrets, because we're all keep secrets. And I don't know why we do. I was guilty of it for my first 20 years, right? Trying to be Dr. Fox, the perfect guy on television, had all the answers. I don't have all the freaking answers. I don't know. I'm making crap up too. I don't know. I'm repeating what they taught me. I had to go on my own adventure to finally go, well, who is Travis without all the doctoring? Who is Travis without all the awards and all these other things? Who is this man? Because this mountain's not going to move. It's not going to move. It'll let you die. Fine. If that's your choice, so be it. If you choose to live, so be it. But you get to choose. So when you look at things and go, like your RV, I'm working on it. We both know right now you have enough power, enough chops, you have enough charm, you have enough everything in you to go, I'm doing this now. I don't know how it's all going to work out, but that's the adventure of it. And your audience, we get to go with you.
Right.
I'm in. Let's do it. Let's meet somewhere in the middle of nowhere, park side by our RVs and broadcast. Because why not? Every day that we're not living in our fun experience, in our adventure, we don't get back. And that's what Kilimanjaro taught me was, hey, look, if you don't breathe up there at 19,000 feet, you die. There's no one's going to save you. There's no helicopter. There's no 911. There's no cell service. There's nothing. There's the mountain, the ice, and you. And you get to really determine, am I going to breathe life into myself and the creator that you are? Because that's what creation really is. Pick any theological religion. Every one of them starts with the same thing. God breathed life into. Hey, if it works for the big guy upstairs, maybe we ought to just follow the path and stop trying to reinvent the dang wheel, because we haven't invented the frickin' wheel. Breathe. But breathing, we so hypnotize ourselves to believe, and I'm guilty of it too. I did it for 20 years. I had new breath work, been involved in it, but really never dove into the fun of it. I thought, that breath work is, why am I doing that? Oh, I just want to get warm. No, you're breathing life into you. And when you breathe life into you, that which you have buried will come up. And it doesn't have to be traumatic. You don't have to go through this deep, dark experience, although you might. But you can make that fun too. Go, cool, I'm finally breathing that out so that I can be me. Because the number one addiction to the search is that the search is trying to drive you to be a better Jennifer. Better than what? Better than whom? You're amazing. You're unique. You're already the original. You created this experience and you would call Jennifer in this body. And then whatever your belief structure is, whether you do it again or you're one and done, that's up to you guys to choose your belief structure. But the bottom line is you're freaking here. You're already a creator. But we don't want to own the stuff that we create that we don't want. We only want to own the creations that we want because it sounds cool at cocktail parties and on social media. Hey, look at I'm a Jennifer show. I created the show. No, I didn't. You could have said no. I said, hey, I'd love the opportunity. I think it'll be a great fun. You said yes, and here we are. So it took both of us to co-create this experience of your show of Empowered Within. So when you look at that and people go, wow, well, come on, Travis, that's simple. Isn't everything? Isn't everything?
It should.
We make it complex up here in this wizard brain called education. Yet our intelligence came with you already. And you know that somewhere inside you. And I don't need to teach you how to have fun. I don't need to teach you that experience. And anybody who tells you they need to teach you how to just flat out lie it. They don't need to teach you that. You got it in spades. We all do. The question is, are you activating it? And that starts with a breath to go, I just realized I'm putting myself in fear. Fear is excitement without breathing. Fear is excitement. How can I make this fun? Now take that wizard brain of yours and blueprint a map of fun. And fun can be something just a slight shift. It could be shifting from a pen to a crayon. It could be, hey, you know what? We're not going to sign out on the desk. We'll sign the contract on the floor. Hey, you know what? We're going to take all our suits off. We're all going to do this in bathing suits. We're going to sign the contract at the beach, because that's what you'll remember when you tell the story of your journey, because every journey starts with that fun moment where we're going to go on this adventure. But life's an adventure, so make it fun. And yeah, there are days that aren't going to be fun. I get that, but you can make them fun.
Right.
You make them fun.
We can.
You choose. You're the creator, so you get to own it 24/7 or don't. Your choice. But there's no victim. Can't be a victim here, right? That's a psych construct.
Right. I love this. So
sorry, I went on a little run there. Apologize, family. This is Jennifer's show. I just kind of want to run. Apologize.
No. You weave right in and out of everything that we wanted to talk about. You talk about something, and I love this terminology that you use, beautiful darkness.
Yeah.
And when I heard you use that terminology, it shifted something in me from hearing shadow work or your demons or the this or the that. And I know people get like, people start talking about shadow work and they're like, whoa, maybe not today. But you talk about beautiful darkness.
Yeah.
And I really want you to share that, because literally when I heard you speak in those two words, you changed so much that I wasn't even aware of was going to be changing.
Stress and trauma happen inside of the body, which means we can heal them through the body. My name is Luis Mojica. I'm a somatic therapist, nutritionist, and host of the Holistic Life Navigation podcast. Join me each week as I teach you how to release stress and trauma through listening to your body, using nutrition, somatic experiencing, and other holistic practices. You can listen at the Holistic Life Navigation podcast or at holisticlifenavigation.com.
Yeah, beautiful darkness came, my partner and CEO, when we started really looking at shadow work. I've done a lot of shadow work myself, and I always tell people, like, I'm a terrible drinker, but if you want to go on psychedelic journey, shamanic journey, I'm in, right? And it's not because that's an escape. It's sometimes I need this thing to stop talking so I can listen. And sometimes I get so lost in my head that helped me just listen. Now, I don't do it every day, clearly. It's very powerful medicine, and it should be guided by a true shaman. However, when you look at the beautiful darkness, let's be candid. Every hero's journey, whether you follow Carl Jung, whether you follow the archetypals, whether you follow the concept of the power of intention, whether you follow the secret, beyond the secret, it doesn't matter. You must go through the darkness of your own illusion. But what we've been told is, Jennifer, you need to go back and remember how mommy didn't hug you and daddy didn't approve of your first boyfriend or girlfriend. You need to do this or that. Why? That's not what shadow work is. Shadow work is owning the part of you. The darkness and the light are symbiotic in synchronicity. They require each other. But we're so busy going, I need to be light. Let me solve this for you, family, if I may be so bold. You don't need to be more enlightened. You already are freaking enlightened. What you get to look at is, how come you keep putting layers of sunglasses and dulling your light under the guise of, I'm controlling myself, or I'm doing the work up here. Like, the work's here. Take off the layers of the beautiful darkness. And then you start to appreciate that in the dark. Now think about this. A lot of our romanticism starts in the dark. A lot of our truth is hidden in the dark. Our secrets are hidden in the dark. They're hidden in the dungeon of our castle. They're hidden. Why? That's where the truth lives. If you want to know anything about anybody, ask them what their shadows are. What is their guilt, their anger, their resentment, their shame, their hidden secrets, their non-acceptance of self, their unfulfilled potential. The list goes on and on and on. But when you start looking at the beautiful darkness, you go, you know what occurs to me? If I just look at it and I own it, it literally goes like that. It will dissipate. And I'm not talking magic here. I'm talking, it dissipates because you as the creator are acknowledging it. You're not fighting it. That takes a ton of energy, a lot of it. But two, the moment you acknowledge it, it integrates into you, and the light that you are, that you always have been, you always shall be, right there, shining all the time. And you start to appreciate it. And again, stop fearing it and get excited about taking off that layer, taking off that lens, and stop talking at the water cooler on social media about how enlightened you think you are or need to be. Knock it off. You're all enlightened. Every one of us is enlightened. We're here. Calm down. We're the only neighbors on the block. The solar system is empty at the current moment to our best awareness. So we're the only ones, we got this part covered, right? There's other things out there. We're not there yet. But when you look at it from a fun perspective, it demystifies it. It makes it more exciting to go, I'm kind of tired of carrying around this guilt or this shame or this resentment or this anger or whatever, right? And you're going to do this often, but know that the fun is when you do that, two things occur. You'll naturally feel lighter all by yourself because you already are light. And that stops the addiction of, I need to go wake myself up. No, you need to stop hypnotizing yourself that you need to wake up. That's the process. And when you look at that, you get to laugh at yourself and go, that's funny. I've mind-foxed myself, if I might use the pun of my last name.
I love it.
Yeah, I mind-foxed myself. I'm like, well, if I can mind-fox myself into that illusion, doesn't it stand to reason, stand to proof, stand to the laws of the universe, however you want to define it, that you can create it this way? The question is, are you willing? And that, my friends, is where it becomes beautiful, because you start to recognize there is beauty in both light and dark. We love the moon. Why? It's romantic. We have big full moons. You go, wow, that's amazing. But it's a false light. It's a false light, and that's the lesson in it. Light is still broadcasting from the only illuminated thing in our solar system called the sun. Just like you, just like me, just like all of us listening to the show, you're already enlightened. Now, for some of you, your wizard brain right now is going, you know what, Jennifer Travis, I really like this. I'm excited. I can feel it. It's infectious. It's great. But, and you're going to give me all these logical reasons of why. And my response is, cool. Are you done? Because it's still going to boil down to a choice. If you can create that much neurosis, that much self-inflicted insanity, which we all do, me included, or we can go, what if I just created fun? Because who wants to hang out with someone who is completely messed up and locked into this thing? I know, I don't even like to hang out with Travis when I'm in that space because blah, but I have to deal with me. So if I shift it to fun by breathing and going, I'm putting myself in a fear state. I'm creating that state. My body's responding to it. I feel it everywhere. And then vibratorily, I'm pushing the world whether I like it or not, regardless of my conscious intention. But if I breathe in and I shift and go, okay, I'm going to breathe until I recognize this, my body is generating a different feeling, regardless of my thought. This will capitulate. It will conform. It is neuroplastic. It will malleably adapt itself when it comes from inside, because that's the journey we're all really on. And that's the real creation. And when you come from that point of view, man, it demystifies it. And guess what? You're going to have a whole lot of friends at the summit of Kilimanjaro because you're all going together and you're all going to tell great stories of the adventures and the quests you went on in your lifetime. And that makes it fun.
It does make it fun. So when you do talk a lot about breath and a lot about breath work, and that's a big thing. That's like the new big thing. Like, again, something new this last year and a half, breathing.
Right.
Do you have a technique? I've worked with different breathing techniques. What's your theory on all of these new breathing techniques?
Well, I don't claim to be the master of breath work. My mastership is in, I'm a showman, I'm a producer, I'm a director, but I'm a teacher at heart, right? I'm still master architect of what we do here, and that's really my bailiwick. My good friend Sifu John Goff, who is a master breath work, who's been in that space for 22 years, I learned it from him. In fact, so much we brought him into the quest for that specific reason, to teach the entrepreneurs breathing, because people never thought about breathing in entrepreneurially. They think only in spiritualism and self-development. I'm like, show me anybody who's in business, whether they're an entrepreneur, an employee, an employer, teacher, coach, trainer, facilitator, who isn't personally tied to their business nowadays. There's no such thing as 5 o'clock and the clock stops. We don't do that anymore. That part of our society is gone, at least for now. So breathwork became an interesting process. And in that process, we do teach 4 different breathing techniques in the first quest. Now there's multiples after that, but it's a simple breathing technique to get you present. I talk about it a lot because it's a simple thing you can control. And our wizard brains always want control. They all do. We want to control everything. Why? Because we're egomaniacs, because our brain has a survival mechanism, because we think, therefore we are. And I'm like, no, you are, and you can change your thinking. We got to get our sequencing on a different aspect. And so breathwork became the simplest of things. It's free, it's a choice, you can create it, and it's abundant. Last I checked, that's a law of abundance. Done. So when we look at it, it takes away all the logical excuses, the pit of BS that we throw ourselves in of all the reasons why. It just takes them away. And then you're faced, we're back to this again, with the beautiful darkness of I am self-inflicting this on myself. Yes, I know people are going to, I've had thousands of people go, come on, Trav, you don't know my situation. You're right, I don't. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Nothing. You can breathe right now. I've been through hell and back too. I continue to do it because that's a part of the journey. You're going to dive in the pit. But if you dive in the pit with, I'm aware that I'm going there, I'm going to look, experience, and feel things, but I don't have to hold on to them. I can breathe my way through it. I don't have to figure it all out. I don't have to control it. If you breathe through it, it will dissipate all on its own. Because if you subscribe to the energy of creation, law of manifestation, the law of attraction, if you subscribe to it, you are equally bound to subscribe that you can create that over here in your breathing. Otherwise, you don't really believe in it and you are back to hope. And then you wonder why the Ferrari's not in your driveway. It's that simple, right? But it doesn't feel good to hear that because it unwinds this big labyrinth and maze and all this drama. But Jennifer, you don't know what I've been through. It's unbelievable. I'm like, okay, that's beautiful, Bard. I love the Bards because I'm a Bard too. We're big feelers and we understand how the audience feels. But let's be candid. It's an illusion. Everything about the Bard, as Shakespeare said, all the world is a stage. So if you're going to play that victim role for a moment, know that you're playing it. Laugh at it for a second, not laugh at yourself in a putting down, laugh at going, that was a cool creation. And now I'm going to breathe into this. I'm going to create fun and I'm going to look for fun. And if it's not fun, I'm not going to participate. It's just a choice. And some of those things are going to scare you a little bit. But again, that's fear, his excitement without breathing. So you keep pulling these sunglasses off and guess what? All of a sudden your life changes and you go, man, I was making this really hard. I was really just, towing the line. I'm like, for what? For what?
Right. So when you're working with your breath, when you're having a moment, excuse me, when you're maybe finding a moment of fear, how are you breathing?
The healthiest food you can eat is the food you grow yourself. And on the Garden Basics with Farmer Fred podcast, we tell you how to grow that healthy food as well as beautiful flowers. Plus, we tell you the things the nurseries don't want you to know.
There are no scientifically based studies that show that kelp meal or seaweed have any desirable effects on plants.
And we answer your garden questions. Well, at least we try to.
I have some nandinas that spread. How can I kill them?
You can't. Just move. It's the only way. It's the Garden Basics with Farmer Fred podcast. It's out every Tuesday and Friday. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. And thanks for listening.
It depends on what fear I'm facing. Okay. So sometimes, for example, when I get scared, I get cold because I don't like cold. I happen to be 6 foot, just shy of 6'2". So, that's a long way for my blood to move down to my feet and my hands. So my extremities get cold. So I may shift to fire breathing. Fire breathing is where I'm increasing the heat in my body. I'm forcing the oxygen in my body to wake up because it'll naturally, be its own thermometer. There are times when I'm breathing through some heavy, intense work, or I'm going to work with other clients or around the quest, because on the quest, it happens. People go through, oh my God, I've got to raise money, or I'm getting ready to sell my company or whatever, right? Sometimes it's just good old fashioned square breathing, just to be conscious of to take a deep breath in and hold it. Because we have this illusion that we have to constantly breathing. No, that's gasping. That's not breathing. And when you look at the concept of square breathing, whether it's a 5 count, a 10 count, a 30 count, doesn't matter. Work your way up. You'll discover that your body can hold a ton more oxygen when you breathe into it. And then as you're breathing out, you can then move into the emotion if you want to, or you could just stay on the breath. I tend to stay on the breath. Sometimes I go to alchemy breathing where it's, into the nose, out to the mouth, into the nose, out to the mouth, into the nose, out the mouth. And then I'll expel everything, hard, cold retention, and hold it. And then I get to watch this little thing called fight or flight that goes, Jennifer, you're holding your breath for 10 seconds and you have no air in your lungs. You're going to die. No, you're not. Not even going to come close. You're awake. You're finding out you can live without oxygen and not gasping for air every 30 seconds or every 3 seconds that you normally do in your need of importance to get things out or whatever. It really trains you and starts to identify where we inject so much fear into everything we do. And fear is this, and we all know it cognitively, but do we really own it? Fear is this deadly silent killer. And it doesn't kill like that. It kills slowly, And you can go back to some of those old sayings that says, the death through 1,000 cuts or one chop, you choose. I prefer one chop, probably from my Japanese, influence, but going, wait a minute, if I'm going to create this, I can create it over here. But we avoid this because we're told it's scary. We're going to be out of control. You might find out I'm a mess. What if Jennifer finds out that Travis, the great Dr. Fox, with all this stuff that sounds really cool on my EPK and my PR sheet? Yeah, I get scared too. Do I get vulnerable? Do I get weak? Do I have doubts? Yep, I do every single day. And cool. Now that's another opportunity, choice. Now we're back to creation again, manifestation, to breathe into it and go, cool. Fear is excitement without breathing. Quest on. How can I make this fun? Now, does it mean every moment's going to be a 10 on your meter? I don't know. Could be if you want it to be. You're a creator. But in nothing else, just the practice of shifting to fun. And I double dog dare you, if I can go back to our youth family.
Right.
I double dog all of you, Jennifer's audience. Take a day. You've wasted a couple of years being in fear. So one day is not going to, really make a whole map difference, except for one thing, no different than the beautiful darkness awareness. You, thank you for the compliment, by the way. Is to go, what if I just took one whole day, just one? And we actually do this in the quest. It's called the Day of Days. We show you how to do it in detail, but the simple way is, hey, what if I took one whole day and every person I meet, every task I do, every bill I pay, everything I do, I breathe and I say fun. And I'm not talking about cognitive fun, like, oh, this is fun, and a positive affirmation. The reason they're called positive affirmations, family, because deep down underneath, they ain't positive. That's why they're called. And Norman Vincent Peale's famous book out of the 50s, Learned Optimism. You have to learn to be optimistic. That's not how this thing's built. It's built the other way. So we have to learn it. But if we learn it mind through mind, it's going to take a long time. We're going to beat our head against that wall again, expect it to come a door. But if we breathe, it's intuitive. It's the magic of the universe. It's the adventure. It is the great mystery that we can define as the universe, the theory of one, God, Chi, Allah, Krishna. I don't care. Put whatever label you want to put on it to define it for yourself. It's still going to come back to the same thing, the breath of life. And if you've ever been around someone who's taken their last breath, and I've had the great honor of doing that with many, many people, it is crystal clear when that breath expels the body. Then the light leaves. And you can see it in their eyes. And it is a clear reminder, you've always been enlightened. You've always been light. But we have stuffed down through our upbringing, through our cultures, through what we think we're supposed to be successful. I felt guilty to it too, family. I did all that stuff too, thinking I was successful. And I got there and went, this sucks. I'm by myself. That's not what I wanted, but that's what I thought I wanted. But what I really wanted was to have adventures. Just like when we do our trips and we take people on the trips, these trips are experiences. They're not going, hey, Jennifer, you and I are going to go hang out in a Prevost bus and we're going to drive to the 5-star Aman Hotel and we're going to have a week spa. Hey, that's great. But does that really, really put you on the adventure you want? Or how about this? Why don't you come with Africa with us? We're going to go out and we're going to stay with the Maasai tribe. We're going to stay with the great Maasais and we're going to live like them for 3 days. Drop all your BS. You're going to do what they do. And then we're going to go out and we're going to hang out with the Hadzabe. And the Hadzabe are the largest known and oldest nomadic tribe in Africa. And I've stayed with them for 4 days. They're nomadic. They don't have houses and cars. And they are telling you straight, they're some of the happiest people I have met on this planet. I have circled this world 3 times. And I sat with them for 4 days and said, I have never broken out to dance for no reason without music, club, et cetera, et cetera. I have never known that kind of bliss. And I have never, ever in all of my gratitude journal and all of my stuff that I write down and think I'm really gracious for, when I had to get up at 4 a.m, there ain't no coffee place around, and there's a fire and you make it with a flint and you make your bow and arrow and you have to walk and you're out in the bush of Africa for 4 hours, 6 miles before you get your first look and an opportunity to hunt. Then you become crystal clear, your grocery store and the road to get to your grocery store and all the systems that we put in place, which are amazing, are really awesome and they're fun. And then you start to understand down here what gratitude really is. Because when you get this little morsel of this little baby bush that has to feed 6 grown men, 4 hunters, and the 2 of us, and you look at that I've never been so grateful and so gracious for something, and even tried to deny it in some sense of nobility. No, take it back to they're like, whoosh, do this. It's a rite of passage that you're not aware of, Travis. And when I took that small piece of monkey, I cried. I cried like a freaking baby. I have it on video. I was like, I bawled because I really understood what the circle of life meant. I understood that did become a part of my being. Thank you for that experience. And then I had to hike the 6 miles back, but that's breakfast. So when you go on these experiences and you go out to see the great Serengeti and you realize man hasn't screwed it up with its need to control, and you see nature in its finest, you weep. You will never know that kind of bliss. I encourage, I implore everyone listening to Jennifer's show, go to the Serengeti, go to see it. I got the great opportunity to see one of the last 5 black rhinos on the planet live. Got to see one, not in a zoo, just the last. It's a living dinosaur. And people go, well, why did you get so excited about that? I'm sorry, if T-Rex was chasing you, I bet you'd be excited. You'd call that fear. What if we went the other way? I got to see it and I got to appreciate it and go, wow, look at what we've done. How can I make this fun? How can we be a part of this? So when we take our trips are quests too. So you experience all of the things, 5 stars, of course, as well, but you experience things you've never experienced before, because isn't that a reason you go on a trip? I mean, yes, I understand you want to go to your all-inclusive resort and you can drink and eat as much as you want. You can do that at home. Go on an adventure because it will change you. You'll bring it home and it will change the people around you just by you being you. And 3, you'll want to do it again. And now you're inviting yourself to become the true creator you've always been and experience what we call the theme park of transformation. You would know that as planet Earth. It's the theme park. Go ride the rides and transform yourself to anything you want to be, because you know the same thing. The end result is the same, broken dead. But did you really live? That's it.
That is incredible advice that I hope all our listeners heed. I know I'm ready. Sign me up for Africa. Like, I haven't felt this excited about something in so long, especially after this last year and a half. I'm like, living outside and nothing? Yes, please. Yes, I want that. Yeah.
It's amazing. And it's 2 weeks. And this trip, which we didn't get to do in 2019 when we took the last group to Africa, we're also going to take a charter plane. We're flying over to Uganda. We're going to go to the impenetrable forest, and we are going to go up and we're going to sit with the great, majestic silverback gorillas. And that experience, you want to talk about being humbled. I don't give a crap if you're the Rock. Damon, I love you. You're an amazing dude. But next to a silverback gorilla, you ain't squat. You get to realize what power is. And they're herbivores and they're the most gentle, socialistic creatures. But you also recognize you ain't as big and bad as you thought you are. And it's the most humbling experience to sit with them. This time we're actually going to get to do it. We're taking that as well. But those experiences, those are the ones, Jennifer, that we go, Jennifer, remember we went to Africa in 2022 and we saw this and we did that. And then my friends, when we're all manifesting fun, that is when the magic occurs. That's when every single trip we've ever done, things show up that we would have never have scripted. We would have never have thought of. We meet people, things open up, opportunities present itself. Last time I was there, I got to sit with the Maasai shaman. That wasn't on the itinerary, but I got to sit with a true shaman. I mean, I'm talking, he's got the cataract over his eye. He's got the gourd with the rocks, and he's doing his shamanic magic, however he does it. And to sit with him, you could just feel his energy. And it wasn't a show. He lives in a mud hut, very innocuous. Old sage, wise, but could see you. And don't we all really just want to be seen? Mm-hmm. It was one of the most magical experiences. And guess what it cost? Wow. 0. You just had to show up. You just had to be willing to go hang out with the shaman and suspend everything you think you know for 10 minutes and just be. And if nothing else, you have a great story and experience to tell because you sat with the Maasai shaman, the one. Wow. When does that happen? Right? You don't see him have an expensive land or an algorithm and a one-time offer and a wait, but there's more off. He just goes, hey, do you want to sit in the hut or not? Wow, great experience. So those are the things that happen. And that's when we're truly creating because we're not controlling. And man, I know I was addicted to control too, and sometimes still can be because this little super wizard likes to get in the way. Mm-hmm. I recognize a wizard when I see one, Miss Jennifer. And and it's not a disparaging comment. Right. It's how we show up. But in our business, we learn in a fun way, oh, that's a wizard, that's a warrior, that's a bard, that's a jester. And here's the secret to the secret. And I'll conclude this little dissertation right here with this comment. Everybody wants to like attracts like. Great. Well, if you don't like yourself underneath, that might be a challenge. We'll start with that. But let's assume that you do. Like attracts like, but like doesn't learn from like. Like learns from unlike. So if you're a warrior, you believe that you're a warrior, attract a wizard as your business partner or your relationship so that you have the balance between the heart and the mind, or vice versa, heart and mind. Or if you're a bard, hang out with the jester, because the jester is going to keep you out of the illusion world of feeling everything and constantly be on the emotional roller coaster. The jester is going to teach you how to just be and breathe and enjoy the experience. You start to see people in a non-threatening, most importantly, fun way. And you see how you show up, you see how they're showing up. And now it's about finding your missing pieces. And that's what we really do. We're a human puzzle company. Hey, find your missing pieces. And when you find them, it's not that you didn't have it. It's that they unlock it in you when you go engage with the unlike. Because unlike, the difference is where we learn. We go, once we think it's different, that's when you realize we're not. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. So I have a question for you. And all this amazing world and amazing experiences that you have had, what is one moment in your life that you are most proud of?
Being a father. I'm a father. I'm a 3-time father. My 2 oldest ones are amazing souls, but they're neurotypical. My youngest, my 19-year-old, is autistic, and he's been my greatest teacher. He is what unraveled, because I couldn't do it. I was too wrapped up in my own illusion of who Dr. Fox is, the film and television guy, and I'm TV and I'm radio, and I've got my stuff all put together. Total lie, but it sounded good on television, right? When he comes along, I have no frame of reference, Jennifer. I don't know how to parent an autistic child. I'm clueless. I thought I got it down with the first boy and girl. I got this to a science, man. I'm going to play with the third one because, this is going to be the last one we're going to produce. Whoop, again, what you think and what's going on, 2 different universes. He's not only become my greatest teacher, but also something I talk about often, because one of the beautiful things about autistics and, being a part of Autism Speaks and the Autism Front, it's not an epidemic. It's an evolution, family. They are present. They feel what they feel, and they are unabashedly, unashamedly honest. We are so busy being socially and politically correct that we never really speak the truth. And we wonder why we have miscommunication and arguments and divorces at 70%. Duh. That's not rocket science. Just step back. But the moment he was born, and I give him a nickname, which I'll keep quiet, but you'll get the point of it. I knew in the womb, and it came to me from my own divinity came through, that his nickname was actually going to be My Undoing. And I knew it coming. And at first I embraced it. And then my wizard brain tried to fight it, control it. And I knew that he was going to melt my heart, that there was no way that this kid was not going to see me. There was no way that all my accolades, all the letters before and after my name and all the statues and all the awards and the thing, all these other things that are supposed to make, Travis Fox great, he could care less. The question was, he's like, hey, Dad, are you willing to be in the room with me? Are you willing to just be present? And all your communication tactics and all your skills as a master communicator, master architect, all these things that you have, right, aren't going to work, because autistics are present. They're feelers. Not from a bard perspective, but from a fully balanced archetypal perspective. Their warrior, their wizard, their bard, and their jester are all balanced. They're just present. They are the proverbial king and queen of their own legacy, of their own castle that all of us are striving to be. They are it. And they're such a beautiful example. So my most proud moment of all the things that I've experienced and accomplished is being his father, because he chose me. And I have no idea why. All I know is, still get emotional. He changed me, because I couldn't do it.
Such a blessing. Thank you for sharing. That is such a blessing. And I have so many friends that have autistic children that I can't wait for them to hear this and to hear your story, because
I'm open anytime.
I really feel that that's going to shed new light and a new perspective on their day-to-day life too. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Yeah. I mean, isn't that the heart of the warrior, right? Mm-hmm. That's the castle. That's what we're all really fighting for. Right? We're fighting for the legacy, but it requires, sometimes we have to unlock our castle door, and mine was locked tighter than, Fort Knox. And in a most brilliant of way, in a masterful way, he taught me just by sitting there and staring at me and saying, Dad, are you going to be present? And, first I tried to fake it. Yeah, I'm present. Let's do this. And Dad, just going to teach you flashcards. We're going to do these typical things. None of that impressed him. He wanted to know, hey, Dad, how do we go get on the Sesame Street set? How do we go hang out? Because I want to sit there and hang out with Telly, and I want to hang out with Murray, because that's his thing. And I got him. We haven't fulfilled that dream, but come close to Kaufman Studios. Kaufman, if you're out there, still waiting, right? But I got to interview him, and he doesn't do a lot of work on camera, but what he does do is and he's a puppeteer now himself. That's what he loves to do. He makes his own shows on YouTube for other autistic kids because he wants the kids to see the world the way he sees it. He sees it in beauty. He sees it in fun. And as much as I was teaching and preaching fun for my early part of my career, I wasn't being fun. And that was what he came in and said, hey, Dad, you don't mind if I reflect this for you? Not in a condemning way, not in a judging way, not you're not good enough, Dad. Just this is what I'm really interested in. Isn't that what's really important? And we all know that intuitively, but we're so good at talking ourselves out of it. I got a job, I got to provide, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm guilty of it too. Don't be fooled. I'm probably the card carrying member of that one for sure. But when you stopped and looked at it, and I'll kind of conclude this with a story that I think will surmise it for every parent, especially in these times. I believe the number one epidemic coming next is the mental health of our kids. And I got the great opportunity to meet and hang with Michael Phelps and his wife about mental health. And we were talking about this. And I said, this is really kind of the thing coming with our schools and what's going on. We've never seen anything like this before. We have no frame of reference. We've never had a global pandemic like this in known history that we're aware of. And I remember when Corey was 7, we're in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was fall, which to me is weird because I grew up on the West Coast. So what's fall? What are these leaf things? Right? So what are these? I've heard about them. I've read about them in books. What is this thing? And most kids, there's a pile of leaves. They jump in. Okay, great. Not Corey. Corey sat there and stared at it for 5 minutes, and I just got the opportunity to observe him. And I sat back and watched him like, okay, Fox, stay out of it. He's up to something. Let's just watch. You don't need to control it or tell him how to play. Just let him do it. Stop controlling everything. And I watched him, and he grabbed these 2 leaves and he stared at them. And he said, I saw his head move, like he was just really examining them. And of course, my wizard brain's like, what the hell's that interesting? They're freaking leaves, bro. What are you doing? Control. Shut up, Travis. He sat there and stared at him, and all of a sudden he just slowly started to crunch them and was like this and was uber fascinated. And then, as autistics tend to do, he did what's called modulation. He started flapping his hands because he was so excited. He was so blissful that he literally could not contain it. And I watched him do this for about 20 minutes, just leaf after leaf after leaf. I started bawling, very much like I did a moment ago. I realized at that moment that I had never, in anything I'd ever done or experienced in my life, had ever known bliss. And he taught it to me without ever saying a word. And it has affected me forever. So I say to all of you parents, autistic or neurotypical, it doesn't matter. Often our kids are giving us lessons, but we're so busy trying to teach them that we forgot we used to be kids until we thought we were adults. Check in with your kid, drop down to their eye level, make contact with them, because the lesson you're seeking to manifest into your life is probably sitting right in front of you.
Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful share. Thank you for that.
Yes.
I love that. Well, I hope that you get to have more time with leaves in the future and enjoy fall more.
I do now, actually. I'm a big dork. I'm a big goof now. I get to do all the things I do in film and television, and those are fun. But at the end of the day, I'm a big dork. I'm like, I don't know. I'm a goofball. I laugh at myself. I trip over things. Sometimes I'm smooth, sometimes I'm not. But what I do that is really based on what Corey taught me every day. And even now, as we're doing this interview, I'm practicing it as we speak, can prove it. I take my shoes off and I go stand on the grass. I just stand there and I just feel the grass for just 5-10 minutes, just to remind myself at the end of the day, that's the easiest way to connect. And then I breathe. Mm-hmm. And I do that. And that lesson was taught from that leaf experience I shared. He's 19 now, but still to this day, he'll go out and do the same thing with leaves. Only now I go do it with him. I don't question it. I don't jump. I jump in and go, let's have fun. If this is what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do, because why not? It's fun. And that lesson has affected me, and God willing, thousands of people, because I've told that story many, many times, but it's something that has truly transitioned parenting, at least from my point of view, of, the old do as I say, not as I do. Mm-hmm. Really come. How about this? How about I just do it with you? Because I'm still making crap up too, because there's no guidebook to parenting. Just be present. That's the only one that comes with the child. Just be present with them. Yeah. And that's been my greatest teacher, my most proud moment. Thank you for asking.
What an incredible moment to share. Thank you. Well, I have one other question for you. We're coming to that time in the show, and there's this one question. Are you ready?
Sure. Yep, go.
What is one thing that no one knows about Travis?
Wow. That's a really good question. Let's see. What is the one thing that knows about and doesn't know about Travis? The one thing that people don't know about me is I actually look like I'm a big old, I've got it together, and I'm a softie. I'm a big old marshmallow. And the older I've gotten, quote unquote, I'm kind of like Benjamin Button. I'm actually reversing. The older I get, the younger I'm becoming emotionally, which is fun for me because I'm like, being an adult sucks. I'm like, I don't want to be an adult. I want to be a kid. The one thing knows about is I'm a big softie. I cry a lot. I'm very emotional from the feeling perspective, which when I was younger, I didn't feel as much. I acted like I was feeling, but I wasn't really feeling. But I'm a lot more sensitive than I look, and I'm a big softie. I cry at, commercials. I cry at movies now. I cry when I see beautiful sunsets or moons, because I think I've finally arrived at the stage in my life of starting to understand what gratitude and appreciation mean by feeling, not by definition. Mm-hmm. And two, let's see what else I like about me. My life's been pretty out there for a long time, so it's a really good question. I'll tell you what they don't know. That's a great question. I'm going on the adventure. I invite all of you to come with me if you would be willing, because it affects us all. Our goal here at the Quest is to win a Nobel Peace Prize, not because we want another award, but it is the moniker or standard by which we define global change. To win a Nobel Peace Prize from changing the educational system back into a learning system. And that's the quest I'm on right now. It's one where, we go in every single day into the quest and the adventures that go with it, but is to do that, because if we're truly going to leave a legacy, and Corey, I speak about specifically, and my two other children, of course, that's really the legacy. Did we really pass on the learning, or are we inviting our children to go learn it on their own and wash, rinse, and repeat? The challenge is, because our population is getting bigger, we try to compress it in the school system, and then we don't learn. We actually get, quote unquote, unwiser as the generations are getting older. That's not how we used to live. That's not how the Mayans did it. That's not how the Egyptians did it. That's not how any great society has done it. And yet we're skipping over that valuable moment of learning who you are, how to identify how you show up, how to transform yourself, how to get out of your head, how to take advantage of this entire beautiful thing we call life. Because if we can date ourselves again, it goes by fast.
It does.
Goes, more distractions we have, the quicker time goes. When you're being present, it tends not to. Even though you're having fun, they say when you're having, time flies when you're having fun. No, it doesn't. Time flies, period. Mm-hmm. Time flies when you're having fun because you're aware that you're having fun. That's what makes it really cool. So what people don't know is our back end mission is to win the Nobel Peace Prize, to change the system back. And again, it's not about the award. It's just the moniker of standard that we have, that we can say we did it. Myself, my partners, my fellow teachers that are all part of the Quest and the daily company here, and every great teacher out there, whether you're a parent, whether you don't think you're a teacher or not, you are. There's someone who needs to hear your story, your message, your invitation, not from a look at me or woe is me, because they need to identify, they need to connect with you. Open that up. That's how we pass learning on. And we've done that for generations as a species. And now we're relying too much on our technology to do that, as opposed to just a good old fashioned connection.
Motorhomes, caravans, camper vans. Join me, Motorhome Matt, as we dive into the world of leisure vehicles and travel. With expert guests, we give you a glimpse behind the scenes of the UK travel industry. Whether you're looking to buy, to hire, or you're already a leisure vehicle owner, listen in for hints and tips, the latest news and expert advice. Find me, Motorhome Matt, on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you like to listen.
Right. Great. Well said. Let's tell our audience you have a major announcement that you would like to make, and then you can also share how they can connect with you outside of the podcast.
Yeah, sure. The easiest way is you can go download our app, which is UBQ, which stands for the Ultimate Business Quest. And it is the adventure for people who are in the startup or their growth phase, their entrepreneur, coach, trainer, employee, employer. It's truly a great adventure between the four of us who put this together. We've gamified entrepreneurialism, transformation, and the adventure of going from founder to funding to fortune, and make it fun, because that's really the quest. That's the first place. You can go download app UBQ or go to myquestapp.com. As far as the announcement is concerned, thanks for the opportunity. As of last week, at the time of the taping of the show, I just signed on to a brand new show called America's Real Deal. Why am I so happy about this show? Because it is exactly what built this country and many countries around the world. So we're all familiar with the other show out there that's on television where you see companies come up and they're trying to get funding from certain individuals. That's great. But in the essence of it, in and of itself, that's still the 1% talking to the 1%. Okay, cool. God bless them. They've done a great job. They have every right to do that, and good for you. But what about the rest of us? What about the people who never get an opportunity to invest in a startup company, who never see a private placement memorandum? They never get involved, or they don't think they could ever invest because they don't think they're smart enough or whatever. This show is mentored by a series of celebrity mentors. David Meltzer is one of our anchors. If you don't know David Meltzer, go please look up David Meltzer, longtime friend of mine, also is Beyond the Secret with me. And the celebrity mentors mentor these companies so that they can come present to you, the audience. The entire show is for you, the audience, to invest in these companies. The celebrity judges don't invest. The show is about showing you all vetted, SEC documented, all that is there. So everything's up front to take the I don't know out of it. You get to meet the CEO and the group that is presenting, and you in real time through their app, you can invest in the company. You can buy their product in real time and experience it, or you can just vote. So everybody participates, because that's how we built this country. Good old fashioned barn raising, if I can quote Adam Brandley, who's the CEO of the company. And here's the best part. From there, you get crowdfunding, and now you can grow together, because now you're going to talk about it. Hey, Jennifer, I just put $1,000 in this company that takes all the trash from the ocean and makes this beautiful wood composite that doesn't decompose and doesn't kill our trees, which, by the way, is an actual company. I just saw it a couple of weeks ago and went, that's amazing. But we never get to hear about these companies, and we never get to meet the CEOs and the founders and the executives, but we get to do this in a fun way. You have celebrity mentors that have done this time and time and time again, who their only vested interest is to see the success of the company and the audience. Because if we don't start growing together, we've already proved we can grow apart. We've done that as a species, and we suck at it. Mm-hmm. We end up in war, we end up in conflict, and we end up in competition. Healthy competition is when we're all growing together, and we're going back to what made us amazing as a species. Find a need, fill it, let everybody participate in, and we all go together, because nobody wants to be at the top by yourself. It sucks. I've been there. We want to be there together, because that's how you pass the legacy on. So I got signed on. I'm the host of season 1 for the America's Real Deal. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. And it now takes what we do is everybody who gets to go through the quest, the app I just talked about, then sets you up to be an opportunity to come and apply to be on the show and get your company funded by the people without being public, all blooded through the SEC. Everything's above board and transparent. And God knows, however you define God, man, we need transparency now more than ever in everything that we're doing, because things are just kind of out there in a weird space. So I completed the contract as of last week. I'm grateful. David Meltzer is going to be part of the show. Several of the celebrities are coming on board. And you, the audience, it's about you. Finally, it's truly about not just your vote, but your participation, because now it's an opportunity. So that was my great announcement. Thanks you're the first podcast I've got to announce it on, by the way. So you have that dubious honor, if I may be so old, to say, the Empower Within. This is empowering us within in the United States and in the country itself and in the world, because anybody can invest, because all you need is a phone.
Right.
Watch, bang, and you're in. And it can be from $100 to $5 million, depending on your investment strategy. But you get to invest in these companies, and that creativity is what we need. And that is when we go on an adventure, because now we get to participate. And when you're a part of something bigger than yourself, you'll talk about it all day long. And guess what? Growth begets revenue, revenue begets profit. And now there's enough for everybody, because there always has been and there always will be. Now we're just going to spread it among the people.
Well, first and foremost, congratulations. I'm so excited for you. This sounds amazing. I love this sense of community, bringing us all together. This is what we need so desperately right now. Oh my goodness. This is an answer to so many different prayers. What an incredible opportunity and show. And I couldn't think of anyone better to host it than you. I think this is...
I'm having fun. I was super excited when they said, hey, Travis, because originally they invited me to just be a guest. And then all of a sudden, Adam and Rasha, who are the president and the CEO, said, would you be willing to host the show? I said, no, I want to host the show. I've waited my whole career for a show that ties in everything we do at the Ultimate Business Quest and get to real funding of the people. Not just, and those institutions are great. Don't get me wrong. There's no disrespect, but the people, which is where the masses are, and then let that company be based on growth and revenue, and we're all growing it together. Oh man, I'm in. Sign me up. I'm on the adventure. Let's go. Whatever it takes, I'm in. And now we're in pre-production right now. We're supposed to go into production here in about 30 to 45 days, subject to the executive producer, of course, because that's the boss. And I'm excited because I get to meet all these new creative entrepreneurs and companies and talk to the celebrity judges. And most importantly, the people, you have the opportunity to invest $100, $1,000, whatever that you never would have got a shot at before. And man, now more than ever, that's community. That's an old fashioned barn raising. We're going to go help build this barn. We're going to be a part of it. I put that 2x4 up. Jennifer put that roof up over there. They put that window in, and you feel a part of it. And, make a couple of bucks while you're at it, wash, rinse, and repeat. And now all of a sudden we've got a movement, and that becomes fun. So thank you. But I'm so grateful that I got to announce it, and thanks for letting me announce it here because you're the first one. So I will always be, I'll hold that dear to my heart to go. Jennifer Empower with Them was the one that we got the first announcement on. So thank you.
I'm so excited. No, thank you. Thank you for wanting to share it with us. And it just warms my heart this show is going to be one of the next best things for us because this is what we need. We're moving in that direction, and we need a catapult in that direction of bringing us all together. And this sounds like it definitely can do that. There's nothing like supporting thy neighbor and thy neighbor down the street and in the next state over, and knowing that your money is helping your own backyard, so to speak. Which is great.
Start with the Quest. Download the app. You've got 25 hours of adventure in there. We're going to teach you archetypal symbology, how to re-architect your life, your top 7 fears. You get your business plan. Everything's in there for you to grow your business. Fun is the law of the land. So when you go into the Quest with us, you'll have a great time. It's priced for everybody, whether you have $100 or $100 million. This app is for anybody who's in business because it has to be fun. So let's make fun. Let's make business fun again. That's what it's all about.
Let's make life fun again. This has been fun. This has been really fun.
Yeah. Last name's Fox. I'm all out fun. Let's go. It's really easy. They have 3 letters in each, and they both start with an F.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Travis, thank you so much for being a part of the show today, sharing your incredible knowledge, your insights, your energies, and most of all, your fun. Thank you. This has been really great, and I know that our listeners are so happy to have you with us and part of our family now. And you're welcome to come back anytime. We can help and support your next venture and your next show and hear about your next adventure.
Deal. I'll take you up on it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, as we say, until next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Empowered Within with Jennifer Pilates. Your feedback is important. It helps me to connect with you and gives me insight into who you are and what you're enjoying about the show. For today's show notes and discount codes from today's sponsors, head over to jenniferpilates.com. Until next time, may you live an empowered life from within.